get a cell phone or a laptop or something, if you could put it on silent, not to interrupt the meeting. My name's Marty Akins, I'm the chairman. The board members, Mr. Himmel, Ms. Barry, Mr. Frankel, and Mr. O'Brien. This is our clerk, Mrs. Griffin, behind me, the head of inspectional service director, Rob Conlon. So, if anyone's gonna testify tonight, you have to stand up and take an oath. If you don't take an oath here, you will not testify. So, Mr. Frankel, could you give an oath, please?
If you plan to speak, please stand.
Anyone's gonna speak tonight, please stand up and raise your hand.
Raise your
If
right
you're not
hand.
gonna speak, you don't have to take an oath, but if you do not take an oath, you will not speak here. Thank you.
You'll give at matters in hand tonight will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Under new business, Ward 6, ZBA 2551, annual memo for a, memo, for a variance to construct a rear addition, construct a covered front porch, relocate the garage on the side of the dwelling, construct a side deck on the premises number 43 Sunrise Road.
Daniel, let me know when you're plugged into
Oh, I
that,
will.
please.
Could I have 1 minute anyway? Could I have a motion, please, to
So this,
Yeah.
I need to adapt.
waive
Waive
the
the
reading
reading.
of the minutes of October 17th?
October, November.
November 18th.
October 7th, I'm sorry.
October 7th.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the
Yeah.
minutes of the meeting of 10/7/2025.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. You have the floor, sir. Name and address for the record?
It's Daniel Memo, 43 Sunrise Road.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us what you want to do there?
So I'm proposing to,
Is this on? So we can see it?
yeah,
Johnny. There, it's coming on now.
Becky.
I got time.
I'm sorry, there's one other thing. Counsel, you gonna move Gladstone?
Yes, sir.
All right, if I could interrupt you for 1 minute, there's people probably here for that, and I don't want them hanging around here if they don't have to be. Just excuse them for 1 minute, please. Thank you, Mr. Foley.
Yep. Mr. Chair, we're gonna be looking to move, the Gladstone proposal that was in there. The applicant had a meeting with his neighbors over the weekend, so there's some design issues that he's gonna sort out. We'd rather bring everybody in here and waste everybody's time tonight. We're better off just having redesigned it. I know the new council wants to do a neighborhood meeting in January too, so.
And I went down there and I talked to some of the neighbors, and there's a parking problem down there too, so if you could tell him, lay off that until he gets to see us.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Counsel. Have a motion, please.
Motion, ZBA 2564, Patrick Foley for a variance to construct a single-family home in the current vacant lot on the premise numbered 61 Gladstone, and make a motion to move it to February 10th, 2026.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Thank you, Counsel.
Thank you.
What were you doing here?
Withdrawing.
You see what I'm saying? Oh, that's the sign, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have one more piece of business here. I didn't know they were even here. ZBA 2566, New Traditions Media LLC for a finding to alter and extend the existing single-sided billboard with a new two-sided electronic billboard on the premise of 100 Quarry Street. That's our famous sign. They want to withdraw their application. Have a motion, please.
ZBA 2566, New Tradition Media LLC for a finding to alter and extend the existing single-sided billboard, a new two-sided electronic billboard on the premise numbered 100 Quarry Hill Drive, Quincy. Make a motion to withdraw.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. You're back up, I apologize.
So it's Daniel Memo, 43 Sunrise Road. The owner of the property since March of 2018. Proposing to add a two-story addition and attached garage on the right side of the property with a covered farmer's porch in the front. So let's come to the floor plan. The floor plan shows the garage on the right side attached to this building, entering into a mudroom with a family room and a deck that leads to the backyard. In the front, we have covered front porch, egress into the house, covered porch to keep away the elements.
There's nothing there right now, correct?
Correct.
All right, and how big is that front porch?
So we're coming off,
No dimensions on,
so 6 feet, basically enough for a rocking chair.
6 feet, right by,
Yeah.
what is that?
6 by 25, yeah, 6 by 24, 25.
24, all right. Go ahead, continue.
The second floor of the addition will have a bedroom, the closet, and a walkout deck. So do some renderings. Here's a rendering of the front from Sunrise Road. So we have the attached garage, the farmer's porch. This would be from the right side. That shows the living room with the bedroom above, staying below the existing roof line, and attaching the garage. So this would be a view from the south, along, I guess, Sumac Road behind the house. So that shows the addition with the bedroom above and the rear deck that leads to the backyard. And this would be from the left elevation, that shows from upstairs shows the bedroom with the walkout patio, balcony, and the living space down below. I
What's the
guess
total square footage of this house now?
so the total square foot is just under 1,400 square feet.
No, when it's built.
So we're adding on roughly 1,000 square feet.
2,400
Yeah,
roughly,
yeah.
all right. The garage, you got a 14.6, what's the old garage that's there?
The old garage, let's see. I don't have a dimension of the existing garage here.
These are your plans, correct?
Yes.
You should know what your garage is, because to me, you got a 14-foot garage and you're still only 3 feet off, and you want to move it. I'd like to see that garage shrunk a little bit. It's only a one-car garage anyway.
Correct, yep.
So,
we-
I
yeah,
mean,
we don't want
there's
to,
some space here.
yeah,
I know you're moving it over and you're still giving it a little space, but if we could do something a little better than that,
yeah,
that was my thing. And in the front, it is what it is. You need to get into your house. I get that, but, I have a few other questions, but that's your proposal?
yeah.
All right, anything, Mr. Himmel? Questions right now?
No, I just thought maybe shrink the width of the garage,
Yeah.
keep it off that line a little bit.
Way off, yeah.
Is the current garage, I'm looking at your plans, is it in the same, the side, in the same location?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so basically you're expanding it towards your house to connect it to your house?
Yes, yes, connecting it to the house, and we're asking for a little bit of space in the rear, but we're not going any further over.
So the
Correct.
line is, it's
Yes,
the same
correct.
footprint on the right side?
Yes,
Okay,
But they're adding probably another 4 feet.
they're going back in
Back.
towards the
No,
house?
it's width, because the garage is like 12 feet, if it's 12, it might be 10. It's a small little garage in the back, I got some pictures here. Any questions?
No, thank you.
That's it, Mr. Frankel?
No, I have none.
I'm good, thank you.
You can have a seat. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor? Carol, you're up.
Yes, good evening.
Christopher N. Carroll. I'm a neighbor. I've lived in that neighborhood since 1961. To be truthful with you, the previous owners were problematic, and Dan purchased it in 2018. Actually, the house had a two-family status. In World War II, they rented the basement to soldiers, and then soldiers, they continued to rent it. So when Dan bought it, he struck out the second apartment in the basement and bought it. He came there as a bachelor, and now he's there with his wife, child, and then now the child's coming in March. So
Built too nice of a house, see?
yeah, America's guest. So as a result of it, he's come forward and he, I gave him a little guidance. I don't know if that's a help or a hindrance, but I
That's a
think
help, Mr. Carroll.
it's a great project and he's there for the long run. There's no speculative activity. So I think in the best interest of the neighborhood and Dan, it would be hopefully a favorable decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else want to speak in favor? Name and address, please.
James Callahan, 173 Huckins, and I also own 179. I'm directly across the street from Mr. Memo and diagonally where I'm building, as you know. But Dan came in 2018. He turned a drug den with a lot of sweat equity into a beautiful house. And I diligently looked at these plans to fit in neighborhood as I did with my own to make it smaller. But he got married, had his first kid, and the second one's on the way, and it's necessary that he gets this extra room because we want to lose him out of the neighborhood.
Right.
It's a beautiful place. I talked to all the neighbors around me, and everyone agrees.
Thanks. You put in a good show.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Anyone else? Last call? Call that part of the hearing closed. The letter here will read into the record, DPW.
Bonnie Akins, Chairman ZBA from Sang Civil Engineer, 11/21/25, 43 Sunrise Road, ZBA 2551, reviewed the submittal of reference project in our comments are as follows. Specify how much impervious area be increased due to development. 2, provide plans showing the existing site condition, layout of utility, grading, drainage, and construction details. Explain how the surface runoff will be discharged and treated. Upon completion of the project, as-built plan showing all utilities, building footprints need to be submitted along with a digital file. Elevation certificate should also be submitted if the property is in a flood zone.
Thank you. Call that part of the hearing closed. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Opposed or undecided. First call, second call.
Hi, Debbie Riley, 9 Landgrain Street. I'm actually the counselor-elect for Ward 6, so I didn't want to speak until I knew if anyone was here against. I did have a chance to talk to Daniel, and I solicited for feedback from the neighbors, and nobody reached out to me, so this is an easy one. We welcome to have wonderful families stay in, and I hope that you'll see fit to approve this. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Council. Anyone else? Last call? Opposed? Call that part of the hearing closed. I just want to shrink that garage another foot if we can, 1.5 feet, make it 13. That's not a lot of room, but it'll just give that neighbor a little more room on the other side because it's so close. Does that sound right?
Well, the problem, the right side is where it is. It's not changing.
No, I know it's not changing, you're moving it over. I really get that, but when it's all one, it looks so massive beside the neighbor, that's all. I mean, I was down, I spent some time at that house, and I thought it was a beautiful house, he did a great job. And it's gonna look good in the back, there was one other question I did have. In the back of your yard, you have is that like,
Raised patio.
yeah, there's nothing in it like, okay, I didn't know, I didn't go back to jump in your pool, I feel it was a pool bag, or an aquarium or something, I didn't know, I said, it looks like a pad, I just wanted to make sure that's what it was. So, I think it would not look as massive because it's 2 feet away from the lot.
Yeah,
If you can go 4 feet, that's not a lot.
So you're talking about
And then you can mow-
13 foot wide?
Yeah, 13 foot, it's not a lot, it's 18 inches, gonna drop it. up to you.
Yeah,
guys.
I look, the way it is, the expense of cutting it down over a foot where it's already
I'm just
standing up
thinking of the
there.
neighbors.
The neighbors,
Neighbors
nobody
didn't come.
object, if someone was here objecting, I'd agree. No one's here objecting.
You know what? How many times we have no one objecting here because the neighbors know them and they just don't want to say nothing?
But that's why we have the new
And I went
counselor.
down and talked to some people down there, and I was down there. I ain't throwing anyone under the bus either. But if we can get it further from the lot line, they would have been more happy. The other people too behind them. So. I don't
No
think
problem.
it's a massive 12-foot garage gives him everything he wants back.
13.
13, I'm sorry,
13 foot.
Fair enough.
With
So
that,
go
can we
from
make a
14.6
motion,
to
please?
13.
Make it a condition.
Yeah.
Make a motion, ZBA 2551, Daniel Memo for a variance to construct a rear addition, construct a converted front porch, relocate the garage to the side of the dwelling and construct a side deck on the premise numbered 43 Sunrise Road, Quincy, Mass, with the acknowledgement the garage will be 13 feet wide. Make a motion to accept.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. You all set? You want another set of plans back? Anyone else?
Thank
You too,
you.
Mr. Carroll. No.
Barry.
Further under new business, ZBA 2557, Jim Chen for a variance and finding to enclose the existing covered porch and convert into a mudroom on the premise number 180 Marlborough Street. Chen, you have the floor.
Good evening.
Address.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Jim Chen. I'm here representing the homeowners tonight, Ms. Chen, at the property at 180 Marlborough Street. It's in a Res A, single family, sits on a lot of 4,000 square feet. What we're proposing to do is to enclose the front porch. Currently is a covered porch, 8 feet by 24 feet, 6 feet by 24 feet. We would like to enclose that and then relocate the stair from the left side to the right side of the
Yeah,
property.
I seen you wanted to do that. You're gonna change the color of the house at all?
No, that will remain the same.
Underneath, does it need new foundation under that porch? You
It
gonna
does
rip
not.
that down?
No,
It has
it doesn't.
everything fine?
It has a,
Didn't look it when I looked at it. Looks in rough shape, real rough shape.
if it needed to be replaced, we'll replace it.
Well, I know you,
It'll look-
the guy behind him, they could do it.
Yeah. And that-
I
that's-
have no questions, I just, enclosing the porch, I guess, people wanna do that for mudroom. A lot of people do half of it, not the other half, but.
Coveus is,
I don't have any question. Yeah,
Coveus is rolling.
Yeah, yeah,
I have
Himmel?
no questions.
all right.
Why are you moving the stairs without moving the front door? Why wouldn't you keep the stairs lined up with the front door?
That's more of a preference for the owner. I think they want to,
Put their shoes in and walk to the left.
correct. And they don't want directly open the door and then
Okay,
into the front door.
okay.
It's a personal preference.
Mr.
I
Frank.
have nothing.
I'm good, thank you.
You can have a seat. Anyone want to speak in favor? First call, second call, third call, call it closed. I got a letter from the DPW. They reviewed the above referenced project and have no comments. Is there anyone opposed or undecided here? Opposed or undecided? First call, second call,
Actually better.
call it the hearing closed. I'll be voting in favor.
In favor?
I'm sorry? No questions.
No question. Mr. Frankel?
I'm in favor.
In favor.
Have a
In
motion,
favor.
please. There we go.
CBA 2557, Jim Chen variance finding, close the existing covered porch to convert it to a mudroom on the premise numbered 180 Marlborough Street, Quincy. Make a motion to accept as presented.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
Okay.
Further under tonight's agenda, CBA 2520, no, that's, how am I doing this one? Here we go. CBA 2558, Attorney Patrick Foley for a variance to raise the existing structure and construct a building containing 4 townhome-style homes and with 12 parking spaces in a premises number 80 Independence Ave. Counselor, you're up.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Patrick Foley. I'm the attorney for the project here tonight. I'm joined here by Brian Saluti, who's our architect. Our engineer, Jed Hannon, he's unavailable tonight to take part in the presentation. Fortunately for us, Mike Ahern, the owner, can handle any civil questions that may pop up. The project we are here to discuss tonight is 80 Independence Avenue. This 8,238 square foot lot is located in the residential B zoning district of the city. I also want to mention that this property is a 1/10 of a mile away from the gate at the Quincy Adams Red Line train station. I want to preface our presentation by saying this project has gotten a full approval for site plan review from the Quincy Planning Board. We got that last month. Currently, right now on the site, for anybody that's not familiar with it, is a vacant, rundown, underutilized warehouse that's been an eyesore in the neighborhood for a number of years. Not only is it an eyesore for the neighborhood, it seems like that when people see a rundown piece of property, they think it's a magnet to come in there and just dump all their trash there. And that's unfortunately what's been going on in that property for a number of years. It doesn't fit into the character of the neighborhood at all. The building is surrounded by mostly all residential homes that run the gamut from single-family properties all the way up to larger development projects with every other residential home kind of mixed in there between. The original proposal for this site the applicant had a while ago was for 6 units with 9 parking spots. After preliminary talks with the city councilor, the neighbors, the planning department, the feedback they got was that that was much too dense for this site. So they withdrew. They thought about what they wanted to do going forward on this lot. And they were actually approached at the time by somebody that wanted to buy the property off them and open a cannabis storage facility on it. The applicant weighed his options there. He really felt that residential is the best use for that lot there. So he rejected that offer from the cannabis storage facility people and redrew his plans. And that's what we're here with tonight. So what we're proposing here tonight is 4 townhouse-style homes with 12 parking spots. These units will be owner-occupied and run by an HOA. Some of the benefits I think that this is going to bring to the neighborhood is, number one, it's going to clean up the site. Number two, it's going to be an improved parking plan and traffic, what has been going on there. When it was a warehouse a number of years, you had people coming and going all day. You had people parking every which way. You had people stopping, putting their hazards on, running into the warehouse. Here, it's going to be a lot more simpler, a lot more straightforward. You're going to have people leaving in the morning, coming home at night, and that's if they're doing that at all with the proximity of the train station. The occasional Uber, the occasional Amazon driver, that's going to be the extent of the traffic that's going to be going on at the facility right now. Also, it's going to provide much-needed housing inventory right now with the shortage of homes for sale in the Quincy area. Hopefully it can help stabilize the prices by putting a little more competition on the market. So I'm going to have Brian come up and go over the floor plans.
Thank you, Council.
Can you let me know when you're plugged in?
I will.
Ms. Barry will turn you on.
I have the power.
Fix them up.
I think those are houses.
Existing.
If you don't need the attachment,
Oh, this one here.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's.
HDMI? Come on, you can build buildings, you can plug this in, come on, guys.
It's part of the test.
It's a test, yeah, it's okay.
We're going to have 3 units.
That's good.
He's plugged in.
Plugged in.
It'll come up in 1 second.
Yep, green light. Green light.
Thank you, John.
Hey, look at that.
Okay.
Bingo.
All right. Good evening to the board. My name is Brian Saluti. I'm the architect for the project. The name of my company is Brian Saluti Architect, and I'm out of Weymouth. You're looking at an aerial right now of the site. The site is highlighted in yellow. There's an existing building there that we're going to be demolishing to make way for a new 3-story, 4-unit townhome building, which will have, by the way, is a smaller footprint than what you're looking at there for a building. The property fronts Independence Ave, as you can see, plus the property also fronts Parsons Street on 3 sides. You see that U-shaped roadway going around, tight to the building, going around. That's Parsons Street. It's on the left side, it's on the right side, and it's on the rear, so it's a U-shape. So it's basically, when you look at it from an aerial standpoint, it's basically an island with no attached abutters. So next, I'd like to show you the next drawing here. This is what I'm calling a schematic overlay. What it's showing is, and it's to scale, and it's showing the existing building highlighted in yellow, and the proposed building underneath it is in red and is crosshatched. And you can see that, we can now compare the footprints, and we can see that the proposed building is quite smaller than the existing. And it's smaller by 4 feet in width, and there's a 20-foot differential front to back. So I thought I'd point that out before I start showing you the architectural plans. So this is the A1 drawing, and so like I said, we're proposing the 4-unit, 3-story condominium building. Just want to make that clear, with 2 back-to-back townhome units fronting both sides of Parsons Streets, on the left side and on the right side. If you look at the left side of the drawing, that is the ground floor plan, and so each one of those units contain over 2,250 square feet. This is a gross figure, and it includes a 2-car garage. There's also 4 additional guest parking spaces available at the rear of the property, as you can see there. This was made possible since that building that was previously there. So this new building is quite smaller than that, so we not only can put the parking spaces there, but we have extra room there for landscaping where there is none now. The typical ground floor unit has it's basically a square. It has a 27-foot by 27-foot dimension to it. In addition to the parking garage at this level, each townhome is going to have a mechanical room, a storage room, and there's enough room left over for rubbish barrels, that sort of thing. Okay, there's also a sprinkler room located on the Independence Ave side. You can see it in the middle there, and it's a small rectangular shaped room that says sprinkler on it. And it's easily accessible for the fire department. As another safety feature, we have 2 egress doors for each one of those units, and this is required by code. Note the back-out dimensions that I'm showing there from the garage doors to the edge of the property line on the left side of Parsons Street. Just want to show that there's plenty of room to back out. And also on the opposite side, on the right-of-way side, you see a dimension of 28 feet for backing out from the garage door to the edge of the right-of-way. The 2 upper floors are on the right side of this plan. And the typical dimension for these upper floors is just a little bigger than below. So it's overhangs on both sides of front Parsons Street by a foot. If you look at that second floor plan, you can see that this is a sizable open kitchen, dining, living room area there. There's plenty of room for closets and bathroom and a full laundry setup. The third floor is the bedroom level. We're showing 2 bedrooms per unit. And these are sizable units, like I mentioned, they're 28 by 27, so they're sizable enough to have, each bedroom can have their own bathroom. So next, I'd like to show you the elevation drawing. Looks something like this. This shows all 4 sides of the building. The height of the building is going to be 35 feet. The left and right elevations facing both sides of Parsons Street are on the upper left-hand corner and the lower right. They're both identical looking, and that's pretty much the same for the front and the rear as well. The predominant exterior materials here are going to be hardy plank clapboard, PVC trim, and typical windows are going to be double hung types. There'll be window bump outs and around all sides of the building, and I did this just to add a little character. The roof will be a combination of a large hip with a gable running along the middle of the roof, running front to back. I can show you that on some sketches to follow. It's a little easier to see. There are also some small roof dormers over the windows in 4 locations on the 3rd floor level. So I've got like a half dozen sketches I can show you real quickly. You're looking at an aerial type sketch, and the project is right there in the middle, and you can, up to the upper left-hand corner there, that's a 3-family unit, and that goes with this parking garage here. So that's 1 lot, and then squeezed in behind the parking garage is, believe it or not, is a duplex.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Is it?
It shows the car parked behind the building. Is that parked parallel?
Hey. You'll have your time when it's your
No, I
time.
need to understand.
No,
because I don't
but you will
understand.
you can ask those questions, but you just don't interrupt the meeting when a guy's speaking, please.
Thank you.
That's not fair. They're gonna pull just like you see it. See his car? There's gonna be 4 spaces right in the back of the building they can pull in.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
I was just identifying the neighbors.
Right,
So to the back of this 3-car garage is a duplex. That's on its own lot.
Yep.
And then to the right of that is a 3-family, and down in the lower right-hand corner is a single-family residence. This is SK2. This is another aerial sketch. I just wanted to point out the right-of-way going down the middle of Parsons Street on the left side, and we're going to be respecting that. And also, you can see that hip roof with the combination of gables ends. Now, this is a SK3. It's a sketch showing the front and the right sides of the building. Note the shed roofs over the window bump outs and the entry egress doors at both units shown. And then this sketch here, SK4, you're looking directly at the front of the building. This is what you're going to see from Independence Avenue. All the entrance doors will come with a small shed roof for more of the protection. Note the sprinkler room is in the middle there of the facade. And I think for identity purposes, it might be wise to put like, fire department sign on the top of the door, and maybe the red beacon can be to one side of it. That way the UPS person isn't going to get confused.
don't think it's a door, right?
And this final sketch is, nope, this is getting near the final sketch, SK5. This sketch shows the rear of the building with the guest parking. And the new landscaping area. And then this is the final sketch here. This, I'm showing the right-of-way, again, in the middle of Parsons Street on the left side of the building. You can see that duplex in the rear there, in the 3-car garage. We widened the road back here by 4 feet. And actually, we widened the right-of-way there So I can show you that just a little clearer right here. So there's the right-of-way, and I was pointing to this area right here where I put these two dimensions. So you see the 15-foot dimension, that's the existing right-of-way. And to the bottom of that, you see another dimension that's 19 feet. So we widen that just to take the cursor out of the turning radius there, which would make it easy for cars, plus emergency vehicles, that kind of thing, plus the, whoever owns, the parking garage, whoever's using that, they'll have a little easier time backing out. So before I conclude here, I have one last drawing I'd like to show you as a landscape plan. And this was prepared by Karen Goslin. She's a landscape designer. Name of her company is CMG Design. She's out of Abington. And she left me with some notes here. She says that she'd like to see the three cherry trees at the front of the property. They grow to be about 20 feet in height. They're single leader types, and they have an upper canopy with open sight lines below. These actually, they end up blooming in the early spring. And then in the back, she's showing two Japanese lilacs trees, which she says are great trees because they're very hardy. They provide lilac blooms in the spring after the cherry trees in the front are finished blooming. Now, there's a fair amount of lawn area that you can see there, kind of in light green. And I'm thinking that'd come in handy for the snow storage. So that's basically my presentation, and if there's any architectural type questions, I'll be.
How wide is the street where they're backing out of that garage?
I think that,
Yeah.
that street, do you know, that's
19?
It will be 1950.
Well, if there's 15, they'd have to shrink their building.
the,
street.
they already are.
the right of way there is 20 feet, is 20 feet,
Yeah,
so.
19 feet, right?
It's 19 feet to the edge of the right of way, but then there's another 1.5 to his garage on that corner.
All right,
So he has about 20 feet on that corner.
thanks.
You're welcome.
And on the bedrooms, two bedroom, did I see?
Yeah, two
Two
bedroom.
bedroom, two bath, right? Yeah, that's what I
The
thought.
lower right drawing.
Those are the questions I have.
There's no
Em?
questions.
No questions.
Yeah, I'm, nice coverage of this, so
Yeah.
I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks. You can have a seat. Anyone want to speak in favor?
Leave this.
First call,
Leave it up to the next case.
second call? Third call? No, I know. Yeah, I know. He just told me. DPW, they reviewed the above project and have no comments. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Sir, please take an oath. Stand up here and take an oath if you're going to speak, since you came in late.
Raise your right hand. Swear the testimony you give before the board tonight will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Your name and address, please.
My name is Teddy Popal.
Okay.
I own the house, one of the three families right behind the building. It's 9-11 Parsons Street.
Okay.
I live at 78 Arbor Way in Jamaica Plain. I welcome the project. Probably it's, I'm one of the neighbors that wants that warehouse gone or at least fixed because it looks horrible. But the amount of the condominium that they want to put there 4 units, and I don't know exactly how many cars, according to the paper, 12 or 16 vehicles?
12.
12.
12 parking spaces.
Yeah.
Each home has 2 and there's 4 guest parking.
It's not doable, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
When you come from Independence Ave,
Yeah.
going towards Quincy Center, right? You turn right on Parsons Street.
Yeah.
The space between the fence that belongs to the house there and the wall on this building, it's extremely narrow. You barely can take the turn. So usually
That's what he
people,
just said. He's giving back 5 feet.
Well, I don't know how he's gonna do that. That means he needs to cut from his building. In that case, they saying that the building is about 1,800 square feet. I don't think it's anything like that. Plus, behind the building, I'm sorry for interrupting his
No, go
presentation.
ahead. You have the floor, sir.
I asked, how are the cars figured there parked? This way perpendicular to the
Yeah.
building or parallel to the building? If you try to park 4 vehicles
Yeah.
perpendicular to the building, and there's no way that a vehicle trying to take the turn from Independence Avenue to Parsons Street and then try to make it to the left is not going to be able to, because there's no space. The street is very narrow, and if it's cars parked like my tenants parked in the front of the building, there is no way, like they say right now there, I see big trucks and whatever they
You have
belong,
a two-family in the back, correct?
a 3-family, yeah.
Three-family.
So I know the area very well.
And how many parking spaces do you have?
I have 3 parking spaces on the driveway, so I share the driveway with the house
So you have
next to
3
me.
parking spaces for 3 units.
The 3 units, yeah. And then, like I said, people parking on the side of the
But he
building.
has 4 units and he has 12. And you're saying they can't get by there when the street says it's 20 feet.
The street is not 20 feet
It's gonna
wide.
be 20 feet when
I'm
it's done.
talking about the width of the street. Personally, I
I'm
think,
just saying, that's what it says on his plan.
Yeah.
If they're not right,
Well,
I'd like to know because
I don't
then we
know,
got a
I-
real problem.
I
You
go
know
to
what I
my,
mean?
I go to my property all the time, and every time I go there, if so
Right.
many cars are parked there, I have very hard time to fit my car. So let's put an example. This is the
Yeah.
building this way, right?
I hear you.
At this corner of the building, and it's a big post that holds the wires, electricity and everything,
Yeah.
and it's a vehicle parked on the right side, very
On the
close
street?
on the street, right
Well, you can't-
next to the
They
fence.
can't park on the street. I mean, there's no room to park a car on the street there. If you park a car on
On-
the street, you can't get by.
That's what I'm saying, on the
Yeah.
Parsons Street, right?
Yeah.
There is parking on the street, so people park next to the fence. There is no space left between, very small space left between the car and the fence. So basically, the person that sits on the passenger side cannot get out of the car, because there's not enough space. So if that vehicle is parked there, if I try to go to the end of the street, I can barely, I gotta fold the mirrors on my car, so I can make it between the posts there and the vehicle parked there. It's no way, like a big truck is not gonna be able to make it the truck.
Well,
you know?
The reason for that 20 width is so a fire truck can get down there and put out fires. That's what we have to have.
That's not gonna make it. I go there to my property all the time, so I know the street very well. And also, if you drive
So
behind
the way
the
it is
street,
right now, a fire truck cannot get down there?
no, sir, if there's a car parked to the right, the fire truck cannot get over there. He needs to go through the other side.
Put a clamp on it and tow it right out of there in 2 seconds, because you can't
Well,
park
they
in the
can
street.
break the windows to run the hoses and everything, but that's a different story.
Right.
What I'm telling you,
I'm
the
trying
way
to say, is it your tenants parking there?
my tenants,
Do they
sometimes
park in the street?
sometimes they do,
No,
yeah.
they can't. They can't park in the
Well,
street.
there is no sign, there is no
Well,
parking.
it's probably gonna be pretty soon, because that's
I-
ridiculous.
I don't
Because you
have
own a
anything against that.
three family and you got 3 parking spaces. I don't know how that ever worked out.
It's that we share in the driveway. Like I said, it's a long driveway, and they park one behind the other one, and the same thing the house next to me.
So why are they parking out in the street? If they have three parking spaces, 3 units, because someone has 2 cars.
Well, sometimes people are lazy. They don't want to walk this way and they go this way. Just easier to park here
Well,
and
the
walk
car's
straight into
towed
the
a couple
house.
times when the new signs are up. I guarantee they won't
Well,
be lazy. They'll park in there.
I'm very happy that you brought that in
No, that's
because
ridiculous.
his people, not whatever the people are gonna be there, they're gonna be doing the same thing.
No, they're not. They have 2 parking spaces right underneath their house. Open the doors and go right in the house. And they got an extra spot when their
How
mother
about-
comes and
how about
visits them
their-
on
How about
Sunday.
their visitors?
Huh?
How about their visitors? People have
That's what the
friends,
4
have
extra,
family.
that's what the 4 extra spots are for.
Yeah,
And,
well,
and if you know what, you're having Thanksgiving in your house and you live there, you tell them to go park at BJ's parking lot or whatever and walk up. I don't know what to tell them.
yeah, well, they're going
Not my
about
problem.
2-3 miles to the
They
house.
have plenty for what they asking. They're asking, and they're giving you 3 units apiece. And the MTA's right down the street. I'm saying they're doing over, over. When I looked at this at first, I didn't like it. Then I started looking, and I started reading it all, and I said, you know what?
Well,
This is cleaning up that whole area. It's making your home worth a lot more money. Everyone's home in there is worth a lot more money, and they're widening the street for it. That's like a win-win to me, when someone could do that in the neighborhood. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I understand your position, and
Yeah.
like I said, probably not too many people will be as happy as me to see that building go.
Oh, I
Do
get it.
something
No one
nice,
likes
you know.
change, and I get it.
But practically,
Especially no one's in there, right?
practically
Right.
of what's going on there right now, you know, the way the building is
Right.
and the setup and the street is,
Right.
this is impossible. Do you know that pickup,
When that building was running and there was people in it, where'd they park?
well, when the building was running, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen people in that building, to be honest with you.
For a long time.
Yeah,
I know.
but when it was on, you know, they had those big trucks and was parking right behind the building, parallel with the building, because like I told you, there's no space to
Right.
take the church.
Right.
You know, I'm not talking about the fire truck, because those are a huge monster, so they need a lot of space to maneuver the
Right.
thing, you know, it's
Right.
impossible.
Right.
And then you go behind the building, right? There is a 3 or 4 car garage there. And then you need to turn the left again.
Right.
It's impossible to turn because they have some stairs, they go down like this, so it's going down. And I know from my experience, every time I go there, I gotta take the turn wider so I don't fall into that thing there, you know, with the car. So it's not doable. So if you want to turn a big truck between this, never mind cars, it's not doable. The way it is now is not doable. And as everybody knows, or maybe no, the trash pickup does not, the trucks, they don't go on Parsons Street to pick up the trash and the, how do you call that, the recyclables.
Yep.
We need to bring the barrels from the back of the building where we keep them in the front, you know, so the tractors, that's what the pickup is doing. The reason why is because the truck, they have no room, enough space to turn around, stop, pick up the thing and go the other side. It's impossible. So that's one of the things.
You mean the guy's gonna drive around on one side and then drive back the other side?
That's what it is,
Stop in the
yeah.
middle of the road and take both sides.
Well, that's what it is. He needs to go this way and get out of that way. If one goes this way and the other one goes this way, they cannot pass one to the other. There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
When you're doing rubbish there.
Well, when you're doing rubbish thing, is completely out of discussion.
Yep.
You know? Now, this is one of the things. The second thing is, when a project like that it happens, right? And I know from my own experience, I own more properties than that one. So when the construction like that happens, I don't know how they plan on doing the foundation, but seeing those big, huge, I don't know, metal things bang into the ground, when they're gonna start doing this, all the neighborhood is gonna start shaking like crazy because the water table under the building there is very close to the surface. I know this because I have 2 sump pumps in my building, and I know exactly what's going on. There's gonna be a lot of damage done to the houses right around the building there.
I'll tell anyone that lives around there, and he will tell everyone to film their house before they do anything. You're not drilling it, banging anything, are you? There's no ledge up there.
I don't know, that's what I'm saying, I don't know how they planning to do the foundations, you know? But this is gonna
Yeah.
be, you said,
Easy.
There's an existing basement there. We're
Right.
gonna be working within that old basement.
so you're gonna keep the foundation and put,
So we're gonna work within that foundation and then we're gonna fill the difference. We don't have to excavate it all, it's already there.
Okay. All right, what else? I got a question for you. You got three units. How many bedrooms in each?
2 bedrooms, living room, dining room, kitchen.
Each one has 2 bedrooms?
Yes,
And that's what they're building, 4 2 bedrooms and have 12 spaces. Okay. You have 3 for 3.
I have 3 for 3.
And you don't want this built because you might be a car in your way.
No, sir.
That's a
no.
little rough.
No.
I do.
I just want you to understand.
No, I
It's-
understand. I understand
It's
perfectly
not that
well.
I'm
Street's
I'm
20
looking
foot
at,
wide. And if a fire department could not get a truck in there, they wouldn't build it. So a fire truck has to get in.
Well, I'm offering another thing if you wanna see, you know?
Okay, go ahead, what?
I'm willing to take you in my car right now and drive you down,
Yeah?
and then
was already there.
I'll let you to put on the
Everyone
driver's
in
seat
this
and you
place,
drive it.
but everyone in this place has been there.
I go there,
And they're
I maybe
adding
2-3
5
times
feet
a
to
week.
that corner where you can't get by.
Okay, well,
That's why they're adding it.
I am honest
That's
here.
why they shrunk the building to come back here, when they shrunk the building, so we could have
Well,
plenty
how
of room
about
back.
this electric post that has there holds
All right,
all
I'm
the,
out.
the
I'm
power, you know, the wires and everything?
I'm out.
Yeah, well, whatever, it's,
Anything else?
just I'm telling you, that's what it is, yeah.
I believe you, but that's your take. I've been around building buildings for a long time, and believe me, if that was
Well, I have
the
one more
fact,
question.
that place would not get built, but probably no parking signs, so your people might get towed. So be careful
It's
and tell
not,
them.
it's not my people,
You just said
you
your
know?
people park in the street too sometimes, because they're
Sometimes,
lazy. And they should
sometimes
get
they,
towed too. No
sometimes
big
they
deal,
do. They
right?
park in parallel with
What's
the
good for the
building.
goose is good for the gander. There you go.
So they park in parallel with the building on in front of my house.
See, I don't understand, I've been here maybe too long. When I hear people complaining about something that they have 4 times what you have, and they're complaining about it. And it's like, do you understand he has 12 parking spaces?
Well, where are they? Where are they gonna be 12 parking
There's
spaces?
2 in each unit,
Where?
underneath. You pull
Underneath?
right in. You pull right
Okay.
in. Second and third floor is where they live. They pull right in. You got a guest? They pull around the corner. It's only a 2-bedroom place.
How many cars behind the building on each side or how?
4 cars can go in that, and they're not gonna interfere with your street because they're off the street. And your street's 20 feet wide. So anything else I can help you with?
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
What does the town regulations say regarding the square footage when you have a multi-stacker?
When you have multi-stacker?
Yeah, like,
Where's no one's multi-stacking
well,
nothing.
he's gonna have units one on top of the other one, right?
No. There's 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units. 4 single units connected.
Look at the plans.
Okay, and then you
Didn't you
said
just see the
that,
plan? See that? Look, see the 2 cars? Everyone's got 2 cars underneath. Each corner is a unit.
okay,
2, 3 stories.
all right, so let me tell you what I've been told by the town, because I don't wanna sound crazy here.
I know, but we got a long night, so let's go.
Well, I'm sorry, so I'll make it fast, okay? When I bought my 3-family there,
Yeah.
this particular place was for sale also, and I wanted to buy it. I called the
happened?
town,
Yeah.
and I told them exactly the address and everything,
Yeah?
and they told me, says, you cannot buy it because you cannot do nothing with it. I said, why? Because this is the regulation. 7,500 square feet of land for single family, 2,500 additional square feet of land for each unit next to it. So they cut me off from the,
Do you know
right
what
there.
this board is? Do you know what we're doing here?
I know, that's why I asked you, so,
Zoning board relief. So you want a little relief from what the actual laws are to make a project
Well-
work, because people have to build a house. No, I can't go there.
that has nothing to do with what's going on there right now. Like I said,
These people have work tomorrow, sir. You're all done. Ask me another question and you're done.
no, I'm done.
You had all the time in the world.
I'm just.
You just keep going back and forth and around. I can't do that tonight, really. I'm getting frustrated. Sorry.
Well, that's all here for,
Okay.
to make a decision.
No, we're here to make a decision, right? And I looked at the plans. If those plans are wrong, he will be sued and you will be the one suing him and that'd be fine. If the street is not as wide,
I'm
if
not
that
a-
street ain't as wide as he says it's supposed to be,
I'm not
We
in
got a
a
problem.
business, I'm telling you that you brought this to the fire truck, I never thought of it. But the fire truck is no way the way it is right now to
We
make
got a
it.
value.
It's no way. Yeah. So thank you.
you're welcome. I don't even know where I was. In favor, against?
Opposition.
I'm guessing he
It's
was
an
against.
opposition.
Wow.
Opposed? Anybody opposed?
Is there anyone else opposed or undecided? Last call? Call that part of the hearing
Already did that.
closed. Oh, my. Now,
Already did that.
yeah, we already did everything, I think. We should be
Yeah.
done. Thank you.
Let's call for a vote.
Let's talk about it. Now, I think it's a good product. I looked at it. First, I didn't like it. I really didn't. And then I started looking at it myself, and I started looking at the spaces and the way they did it, 2 bedrooms. Come on. The guy brought it down where it should be. I'm gonna be voting in favor.
I'm going to be voting in favor too. I think it's sufficient parking. If anything, I live in the neighborhood, your people park all over that street. All over that street. I've lived there for 40 years, and your property's a mess, and your tenants park all over the street. So the problem isn't this project, it's yours. Yours.
That's only 2 cars in my property too.
Yeah, no.
I know my tenants.
Yeah,
only 2
go
cars.
check it.
In favor.
It's a red.
Go check
And a
it.
motion, please.
In favor.
Hey, no. No.
I'm in favor.
Barry?
I'm delighted to see 8 bedrooms with 12 parking spaces. Thank you.
you.
I trust you're going to be enforcing the no parking on the Parsons Way
Yeah.
starting tomorrow. Thank you. I'll be voting in favor.
In favor.
Mr. Frankel?
No, in
Mr.
favor.
O'Brien?
Yeah, I'm real good now.
Let's get a motion in here.
Would you like me to make a motion? Mike?
Please, please, Mr. Frankel.
Frankel?
Frank, I understand, well, I'm sorry.
The heck?
All right, same
I'm surprised I
try.
didn't call you Mr. Chair.
ZBA
He said-
2558, Attorney Patrick Foley for a variance to raise the existing structure, construct a building containing 4 townhouse-style units with 12 parking spaces on the premise numbered 80 Independence Ave, Quincy, Mass. I make a motion to accept as presented.
Second.
On the motion?
Aye.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
Thank
All
you
right.
for going to planning first and coming here with it all clear. That's what we like.
Good luck, Patrick.
Counselor,
Counselor.
It's all over, but I wanted to say that,
I didn't even see it.
I know, it's fine.
I'm sorry, Mr.
I
Devine.
appreciate that they put a lot of effort into this and all the parking spaces. But I really like the fact that you have the front doors that are on Independence. Sprinkler room door looks the same as the 2 flanking it.
Thank you.
Which makes it look like a proper building. So, thank you for the effort. It's beautiful.
Sorry, Council.
Mr. Devine, I apologize. Merry Christmas, by the way.
Spoke up. It's all
Huh?
right. We had a little.
Tongue twister.
Have a good holiday.
Further on tonight's agenda, ZBA 2529, Kevin Cass, for variance to construct a 10 by 20 greenhouse on the premises number 210 Adams Street, and I believe it's 20 by 18
That is correct, sir.
instead. This shows
I
the-
also brought some visual aids.
Yeah, no, we're all set. That's what falls in your head?
This is what falls on your head.
I read it.
Let me know when you're plugged in.
Yes, ma'am.
I could do some, it's like a lacrosse ball.
That comes off.
It left a bruise for quite a
What
few
are they?
days.
Are they nuts?
Black walnuts.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't look black. What do they look like?
They're like rotten
50
oranges.
feet, 60 feet. Bang. Wonder how the glass is gonna work.
Windshield?
Twin walled polycarbonate, so they're impact resistant.
So is my windshield.
So thank you very much for the opportunity. I apologize in advance. PowerPoint is not my first language. But I am proposing to build a 20 by 18 foot greenhouse over my koi pond and the adjacent patio in my backyard. I will be explaining what I'm building, why I'm building it, and why I need the variance to you guys. This is my pond. You can see my fish in the top right-hand corner. Yeah, beautiful little area. It was a labor of love over this past summer. That is my friend and I, as my wife likes to say, the pond is roughly 1 Kevin deep. So we began with the excavation, put in the liner, and then I got a terrible sunburn putting all the stones in, and then I learned how to install a patio. This is basically what it's going to look like, just over the pond and the patio itself.
That looks huge, but it's not. I was there.
No,
That looks big.
I did stretch out the image.
Whoa.
The intent is to use T-slot aluminum extrusions with twin wall polycarbonate sheets for the ceiling and clear plexiglass for the walls. That said, tariffs have gotten a little bit crazy, so it may end up just being pressure treated 4x4s for the frame, but hopefully I'll still be able to go with the anodized so it won't rust. The dimensions are going to be 10 feet at the peak with 6 feet on either side, or any of the sides. I should mention that is below the fence that is currently around the entire backyard. The width will be 20 feet and the depth will be 18. I'm building for 3 primary reasons: predation, debris, and water quality. There is a family of red-tailed hawks that lives in the backyard, and while Hockey and Mrs. Hockey are lovely neighbors, they have been harassing the pond. It is very intimidating to go out there to feed the fish and have a 6-foot wingspan bird fly past your face. The black walnuts are the primary concern. You have the visual aids. I did a little back of the napkin math. If they fall from halfway down the tree, they're doing about 20 miles an hour. When they hit you or the patio, it sounds like a gunshot. And my wife has fled in from doing her work outside on numerous occasions. The last one is the water quality. Again, going back to the black walnut seeds, I found about 500 of them in the pond when I was cleaning up at the end of the season this year. Yeah, it was about 6 inches deep. On their own, they're not that harmful, but they do make the water acidic, which, contrary to what you might think and common sense, you can't just put tap water in a pond. It has to be like specially treated, and throwing off the pH balance, especially for these fish, is very detrimental. Sorry, I should have hit the video first. This is the area. It will be completely enclosed around here on all sides, and I'll just have accordion doors in the front and a couple of access panels in the back so that I can service the pump and the waterfall. And if you guys have any questions, that's me and my nephew.
I was at your house today, Kev, and the back there, it's a beautiful, you did a great job on that house.
It's no longer a hole in the mud.
When they built those, there was a lot of problems with the siding and the insulation, the flashing. A few of those people that bought up there weren't too happy, but
No, they were.
too bad you got one of those and it cost you an extra 50 or 60 at least, I'll bet, just to throw that up. But you made a beautiful house up there, you really did, and I think you did a good job presenting. And I understand, I was sitting back there and I saw it. Those things come down all the way up. That's pretty wild.
And the trees themselves are very old. I don't want to destroy them.
Wait, what a kid, you got a kid out there, probably break his hand for one hit him, who knows,
yeah.
you know? I mean, that thing's flying down. That's all I'm saying, you did a nice job and you got a beautiful home.
Thank you. This is just like the last piece, and then I'll be done. And not for nothing, but I don't know how my neighbors feel about the sound of the waterfall, but this will mitigate it. If they do like the sound of the running water, sorry.
No questions.
No questions.
Mr. Michael?
No, I'm just saying, I like it, it's cool.
I have an issue. You can't build a structure in an easement.
It's not an easement, it'll be off of it.
Say it again?
It is off the easement.
Okay, but your plot plan showing it in the easement.
No, I looked, I thought I said it was off.
It should be off.
I thought the start of that was off,
Talking about the corner right there?
because it goes between,
It's showing it right there.
it's on his other property.
What?
I know the way that shows, but when I was there and I looked down the corner of that, who drew that fire?
I just did that by freehand off of a printout.
Oh.
As far as the pond itself, it was all done with permitting, and wherever it was, I was told that it was perfectly fine to put it there. All of the permits were pulled with the city. So it's possible I just did a bad drawing of this, but it's not going to be extending substantially beyond the pond anyway, so.
But when I looked down that walkway, when I was looking down the walkway beside your house, and that was the easement going up.
Yeah.
From the house, you were like, that was a foot past your house.
Yeah.
2 feet, 2 feet past your property almost.
Yes. And there is like a small area with the fence that's been blocked off because, again, the easement.
Right.
That's why we got the double gates. So
Right.
if someone ever needs to service the telephone pole that is somewhere like around here, they can get a truck in.
But that's a sewer easement that's in there, correct?
Which way?
The one that runs from Adams Street, that runs through the property? The survey is
Oh,
showing.
no, the sewer doesn't go all the way through. As part of beautifying the area, I had to backfill the backyard. Going down to the DPW, I was given instructions on how to raise the sewer. It's actually kind of lovely in there. There's like a little 16th century cistern, but it doesn't extend beyond this point roughly right here at the corner. It's just that sewer drain, and then there is a service, like a like an angle for a mouse so you can unclog it.
Because you're confusing me, because the other plan shows that when they built those properties in there, that you relocated a sewer easement adjacent to the property line. And apparently it doesn't go anywhere, but.
No, it really doesn't. Had I known, I would have taken pictures of it when I was building it up. With the exception of it spelling awful, it did look like something out of like Rin Tin Tin. It was all like brick inlays and like a funky angle.
I have the pictures.
Huh? That thing's gonna be over.
It's what? No, it's, they sent me a plot plan that showed the
No.
sewer easement,
No,
a new sewer
and
easement.
it's to the right.
He issued a variance and he said, but it doesn't encroach.
Right. I guess Paul did that, and he said it didn't encroach in the,
Huh?
Paul did that, and he said it didn't, correct?
Right there.
May I take a look?
Sure. It says proposed 15-foot sewer easement.
But it don't go down there, I know that.
When I was getting the permits for the pond, this was brought up and it was brought to my attention that it didn't actually extend that far. And when I lifted up the sewer drain to raise it with the rest of the yard, it was confirmed that it didn't go any further.
What doesn't go any further?
The sewer itself.
But
There's just like a cap there, around this point right here, super right there.
No, you're back further here.
Yeah. Oh, no, I understand the easement goes that far, but the sewer itself apparently.
It doesn't make any difference. What happens is the reason they take an easement is if they have to do excavation.
Yeah.
Now, this is a protection for you, as opposed, if you built something in an easement area and they take it down, they're not required to put it back.
Well, it will be relatively modular, so if it does need to come down, I'm willing to accept responsibility for that. But again, there's nothing there to service.
No, you're missing the point.
Should we see Paul, because Paul went down and looked at it when he did this, the clerk.
All I'd ask is that it be plotted correctly on
Right,
a registered land surveyor's plan.
Exactly,
And
See which
we
one's
need
right.
the instruments to tell us where it is.
right.
And then how you're plotted in there today. So
Sure.
you need a survey of the area,
Okay.
all right?
Yeah, I can do that.
And so the existing easements, the location of the pond, and whatever was not an easement, to take it off the plans,
Okay.
okay?
Right.
Yeah, I can do that.
And the DPW might have that.
Well, these are the ones I got from the
I
DPW.
know, but
No, he
they
still
might
needs a
have another
survey.
paper that's not on there yet. I don't
Huh?
know. I don't know, Paul looked at it, so,
I know, but you still need a survey, right? To say
Yeah.
where the easements are and
Yeah.
what's on the ground, so.
I mean, to be fair, the property itself was surveyed 3 times, but I don't think they were looking specifically for the easements.
you got
Yeah.
your stakes in the ground, I saw stakes out front,
Yes, sir.
so they did that.
Mhm.
All right, so do you have any stakes in your
All
car?
you gotta do is plot them off the stakes then if they're there.
Right,
Yeah, the fence follows the exact plot lines along the back.
but it's probably not right on, it could be 8 inches, could be 12 inches.
Oh, no, we strung strings among the stakes that they
Yeah.
put in for the survey, and then they just put the fence right up next to it.
All right,
There are still some remaining stakes, but not in that.
why
back
don't you get on, why don't we do this?
Mm-hmm.
We'll put this off, January what? It shouldn't take long. It should
I mean,
just be if he brings
The
it
ground
in,
is frozen. I'm not going to be able to do
Right.
it until the spring thaw anyway.
What, we got February 10th?
February 10th.
And it can all be done by then? Yeah, holidays, all right.
210?
We're gonna give you the February 10th. Go
Okay.
down and see Mr. Conlon. And he'll tell you what you have to do, and he'll look up the stuff there, and he'll talk to his inspectors that went down there and looked at it.
Okay.
And then we can figure this out,
Yes, sir.
all right? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for the time.
All right.
Motion?
Now, I wanna hear if someone wants to speak on it since they're here. I don't want them to come back. Is there anyone here that wants to speak on this? In favor or against? Okay.
Would you like me to leave it up?
Good evening, Jeffrey Zinda, 18 Sturtevant Road, direct abutter to Mr. Cast and
Yeah.
210 Adams Street. I think the point that was 18 Sturtevant Road,
Back right hand.
the point that was just raised is I'm in opposition to this project
Right.
vehemently. for a number of different reasons. First of all, the 15-foot utility easement is in place, and all 4 of those homes are fed through that sewer as well as power easement. That's there, so that can be verified. Mass General Law, Chapter 187, Section 5 prohibits construction of a permanent structure within an easement. So you're absolutely correct about that.
Thank you.
It's a non-possessory right, so that means the utilities would have to sign off on it. In fact, the city of Quincy does not have any say in that, whether it's zoning or building itself. So permit B-25-582 to construct the pond is, I believe, an illegal permit. The pond itself was constructed within that easement, and it should not have been permitted in the first place. I've raised this with Solicitor Timmons, and we'll talk about this in a separate session. There are a number of different issues here. Zoning Chapter 375, 3.2.31. Mr. Cast is requesting relief of 6 feet. In fact, the fence structure that he built here would require 10 feet of setback because it is considered a structure as defined in Chapter 375, 10.2. So there are a number of different issues here that are at play. The wrong relief is being sought after. You're asking for a permanent structure to be put within a utility easement. And quite honestly, I only have 9 feet of relief due to the property line from the back of my house to where that fence is. That means that this is very close. I am an architect and planner. I've designed a number of different research greenhouses for Harvard, for Yale, for Columbia University, amongst others, UMass Amherst. One of the biggest issues that you have with greenhouses is light reflectance. Whether it's a glass house or a polycarbonate or ETFE, they all reflect light. They will all reflect light up into the back bedrooms of my house. That is very, very close to where this greenhouse is being proposed. So while I can appreciate there are issues here related to the siting of this, the siting of the pond is the issue itself. This was, there were many places this pond could have been placed on Mr. Cast's property. He elected to place it underneath the 100-year-old shagbark hickory. It is not a black walnut tree that does shed every year. Had he consulted a design professional in order to assess, a landscape architect could have told you that tree will shed many golf ball size, nuts like that every single year, as it has probably done since well before any of us were around. So, the relief being sought is completely of the appellant's own making. So I would ask that this zoning board decline this request. The pond should not be there in the first place. The structure would be, as advertised as 200 square feet, it'd be nearly 400 square feet or 360, which is 80% over what it was advertised as. This is a massive structure on a small lot to protect a pond that shouldn't be there. So I would ask that you reject this request.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else want to speak? All right, we gotta go back there and see what's going on here then. See if that, I don't know, if the pond should be there, shouldn't be there. So let's do that first, and then we can have to figure that out. So why don't we just have him come back in February anyway, because we're gonna have to figure this out. I know he's got a permit, yeah, just come back in February and I'll go down there and we'll talk to Mr. Conlon.
Okay. And DBA 2559, Kevin Cass, variance to construct a 10 by 20 greenhouse on the premise 210 Adams Street, Quincy, Mass. Make a motion to extend till February 10th, 2026.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Let's take 5 minutes, everybody.
Thank you for your time.
If I could have your attention while we get back here. ZBA 2560, Andrew J. Time, Esquire, for variance and finding to allow operation of a lodging house on the premise number 45 Greenleaf Street. The applicant, the representative here. Greenleaf Street, 44.
Hi, good evening, Andrew Time for the applicant. The applicant is the same as the owner in this case.
Yep.
The owner of the property is FBCF LLC.
Yep.
And with me is Keith Shepik, who is the representative of the company. Yes, this concerns 44 Greenleaf Street. It's a large, single-family home. There's 3 levels above grade. There's a large basement also.
That was a two-family house, though, right?
I think it's a single-family home right now.
And it operated as a dentist office.
It was a dental
Yeah,
office.
a
but
dentist
it was
office at one point in
two-family
time.
house that turned into a dental
Yeah, it's a multifamily neighborhood. I did look at some of the surrounding residences. There are-
Residence B.
Yep, RB. There's 1 and 2 family homes in the neighborhood. There's also a large condominium complex
Right.
right next to the property. I think it's possibly maybe 30 units in there. So I guess this property could ultimately become a 2-family or a 3-family or maybe even 4 condos if that's, eventually where it goes. My client runs a sober house at the property. So a sober house, I'm assuming some of the board members have heard of these before, but it's a place for people in recovery from substance use. So people who are no longer users, who need a place to live. Often they're referrals from the state. They may be on probation, and they're referred to the property, and they live there on a permanent basis, but with an eye towards gaining stabilization, so they can go and move out and live on their own somewhere else.
Right.
Often coming from a higher level of recovery, like a detox center or the hospital or somewhere like that. Some people might come off the street.
Yep.
One of the benefits of this types of housing for the city of Quincy is that it does take people off the street. You
Correct.
need this type of housing in a city. Quincy is a dense city. It's highly populated. And I'm not that familiar on a day-to-day basis. I don't come to Quincy that much, more to Boston, but I'm assuming you have people walking the street that need a place to live, and it's difficult for them to come up with the money to rent their own place. And frankly, for people in recovery, renting their own place is not a good idea, because isolation allows people to do whatever they want, and people in recovery are subject to relapse and often drink or do drugs or do whatever they can in their own in isolation. Whether they came from detox or a hospital or not, they're susceptible to relapse. So sober homes provide an environment where you're with other people in recovery that understand a mission, that have signed on to a mission, that have some sort of informal oversight, and therefore those individuals provide peer support. So they're living together, and Joe, you know what? You shouldn't buy alcohol, or you shouldn't do that. And that works where there's oversight. So this type of housing is needed. I looked at the zoning in Quincy. There is no sober house defined in the zoning regulations. Not many cities and towns in Massachusetts.
It's like a rooming house, isn't exactly.
Well, it isn't. An organization like MASH will get very upset if you want to call it a rooming house, because that rooming house is independent living. You live in your room, you lock the door, you do whatever you want. And this is a shared living environment. People watch
The door's
TV
wide
together.
open? Are you telling me the door's gonna be wide open?
Obviously, a lot of privacy within your own bedroom. You're entitled to privacy. You're not entitled to locks on your doors, but you're sharing this space with other people. It'd be like my house as a kid. My parents usually didn't wander into the room, but they could do whatever they wanted because they owned the house.
Correct.
So, this is a shared living environment. People are cooking, eating, sharing the fridge, watching TV together, things like that. They can stay as long as they need to in recovery. It's a cheap entry point. I think, is it $200 a week? Yeah, $200 a week, all-inclusive housing, so it's got all your utilities and everything's paid for, so people know that they can get by with a minimum wage type job and pay their bills and be a cook or something like that produces enough income so they have a place to live. So the zoning in Quincy doesn't have sober houses. Again, Massachusetts, very few do. I was looking at Haverhill the other day, and surprisingly, Haverhill has sober houses in their zoning, which is very nice to see, because they have a place. And they said, you can operate these here. So other cities and towns that I go to, and obviously I'm here in Quincy, so often a reasonable accommodation has to be requested. And under state and federal law, what that means is that a city or this board can bend the rules. They can make adjustments to the zoning under federal law. It allows them to make an accommodation to allow a sober house to exist. And it's not just to allow a sober house to exist, it's to allow disabled individuals or any protected class access to housing. Disabled individuals under state and federal law are a protected class. That's been the case for, 5 decades maybe. And the reason being is because there is a stigma or an opposition or stereotypical views towards people in recovery such that people do not want them in their neighborhoods. You may hear that today, and that's often the case. People come in and they say, I don't want this person in recovery living next to me. And that's a discriminatory viewpoint, and it's based upon a belief that when someone in recovery is going to live next to me, the next thing they're going to do is break into my house, or they're going to hurt someone or do something dangerous. And I've probably presented at least 50 times in front of boards asking for this type of relief, and I've seen police reports, but the police reports are about incidents within the home. Brother and sister fighting within the home. It'd be two occupants of the same home. Maybe they get in a fight over being able to use the stove at the same time, and it turns into something more, and the police are called. But I haven't seen a record or some sort, or a stack of paper showing that individuals living in a sober house are hurting people around them.
Right.
It's typically not the case. It's what people believe is going to happen, but this isn't a home that people can deal drugs out of. It's the opposite. They may be dealing drugs 2 houses over, but they're not doing it here because they have to give urine tests multiple times a week. There's peer oversight. There's an appointed house manager. They're not compensated. It's just someone further along in recovery that knows about recovery, has shown some stability, and can say, yeah, you can't be doing that. And then they call Keefe, and Keefe says, yeah, and we're going to take a random drug test of this person, and they failed that drug test, and now you've got to go to detox or hospital or higher level of care. And they follow that process. So typically you find that people in recovery, they're at a point in their life where they've already maybe committed the crime, they've gone to jail, they're on probation, they've been to detox, they've been to the hospital, and now they've bottomed out and they've lost everything, including their car. And their sober house is a point where they're going like this. So they're really not looking to get into trouble, which people think that that's what they're in. They're not at that point where they want to get into trouble because they're already just expired. They're really at rock bottom. So I understand the perception that there will be problems, but I doubt any real problems will be presented, except maybe they congregate on the front yard too much, or you see people you don't know, and people don't like that either. I understand. You want to maybe know your neighbors. So, that's a concern that sometimes is voiced. But so...
Well, don't you have that they can't all hang around the front of the house and all that? I mean, they gotta be doing something.
There are rules. There are rules, and, that they are enforced. I'll just be frank, obviously, rules aren't always followed.
Oh, no, I get it.
And, it's not 100%
That's what he's there for.
sure thing, and that's what he's there for. And his house is a MASH member, Massachusetts Sober, Massachusetts Alliance for Sober Housing. They have a phone number that you can call. They've got a website where you can file a complaint against this house every day of the week if you want to, if you think there's a problem. And they will get someone out there to investigate it. Initial response is like 24 hours. They promise to be out there within like 72 hours. They've got a certain time frame. It's on their website. Don't quote me. I might be off by 12 hours or something. But it's an additional level. In addition to, calling the city and complaining, this house, Keefe wants to be part of MASH. MASH only refers people for housing to registered sober houses through MASH, because MASH is funded by the Department of Public Health. So the Department of Public Health promotes MASH, and MASH in turn certifies sober houses. The certification is voluntary because you can't require sober houses to be certified. And as a result, there's an overlay structure from MASH for sober houses in every city and town where the sober house is part of MASH, such that it gives an outlet for neighbors or anyone. Any of you could call MASH or file a complaint, and they would have to look into it and try to resolve it. So it is a beneficial thing for sober houses to be part of MASH, and this one is. I do understand from my client there are a couple other sober houses in the neighborhood there. So if the neighbors haven't had a problem with those sober houses, then, or they're unaware of those sober houses, that's because they're operating and they're not causing any problems. But they're there because my client's aware of it. So in terms of relief from this board, we're asking that this board either consider the occupancy the same as a single family and that they comply with all laws applicable to a single family under the local laws, under the state building code, and MASH's requirements, or in the alternative that this board, as a reasonable accommodation, allows a lodging or rooming house to operate at this location. My client would like to have up to 16 people. There's 10 beds above grade in this home. It's less than 2 people per bedroom. It's obviously something that if the board thinks that's too great a density, he's willing to talk about, and because he'd like to obviously run this to provide this sort of housing. He's been doing it since March of this year. That's a rough estimate. And an interesting thing happened in May. The law changed slightly in May, so as of March, I don't think he had to seek any relief from this board at all. As of March of 2025, the appeals court, the law per the appeals court was that unrelated disabled people living together had to be treated the same as a family. That's it. That was the law. And as of May, it's changed a little bit where a city or town can basically.
There are places that they can put these houses in certain, which I was gonna talk to you about.
Yeah.
In Quincy, you can't run that house in Zone B, which you're in. So I'll be voting against it. And you can go in Quincy and go to Residence C, buy a home, you can run it there. Business B, Business C. Those are your three options. You can't run a sober house in Residence B in this city.
Yeah, I guess, the only thing about that
You
is.
can argue it all you want. You can
Oh,
argue it in
I
court
just-
Because I'm
yeah.
not gonna vote for it.
No, I understand that.
I can't.
Yeah.
That's the way
Understood.
we do stuff here.
Yeah, I think the intent of the law is that, and the intent of reasonable accommodation is.
And I get it, believe me, I get it. I got a lot of people, a lot of friends that I ran my union program, so I get the whole thing, believe me, from A to Z. So,
Yeah, the only thing I'd like you to hear, and I
being in
understand.
Plymouth and picking
Sure.
someone up that his wife's looking for him, and she told me where he was.
Yeah.
He wouldn't call me, but someone else would.
And I understand
I've been
that.
there, done
No,
that.
and I know the way you're
But
gonna
our
vote.
rules are,
Yep.
instead of keeping everyone here all night to
Yeah.
talk about this,
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask the board to vote against this, your application. We heard what you had to say, but it's not usable in Zone B. Now, you have a right to take it to court, do what you have to do, but we have a right to follow our rules in the city, so.
sure, the only thing.
If you wanna keep going on.
Well,
I'll
just
go
for one
on.
more minute, I won't
Go
keep you
ahead.
here all night. I know
Right.
you already made up your mind, there's no reason for me to talk too much. I just want to say that the whole point of the Fair Housing Act and reasonable accommodation is to allow people to access to housing to particular neighborhoods, not to be shoved into a quarter of the town or over by the train
No,
tracks
that's
or where
where
other
we
people
have
don't want to
these
be.
in Quincy. We have them in C, Residence C. You can do that type of home. You can do a type of home in.
No, I understand that.
And that's just
yeah.
our rules.
And I understand that.
Is the state gonna change them? Maybe they will, but
Yeah,
right now I have to live with what I have.
right.
You know,
And
I apologize, but that's it, because I really get your cause. I get the whole thing. I really.
that's
do.
fine. I just,
You can ask anything you want. Name and address for the record, please.
Keith Shebeck, 87 Countryside Lane, Middle Massachusetts.
Sure, go ahead.
So when I opened up the home and bought the home last year, September 2024, we were under the understanding, I had multiple houses in Boston, I had one in Fall River.
Right.
That a single family occupancy certificate allowed us to do this under the law because attics are considered a protected class, and that was the current.
And we're gonna give you that. We're gonna give you that, but not in Residence B.
So before I purchased the property,
Yeah.
with the closing attorney for the seller,
Yeah.
we insisted on the occupancy certificate.
Yeah.
So they went back, because I've been operating as a dentist's office for 40 years,
Yeah.
and there was a business in the basement,
Yeah.
they got us an occupancy certificate for a single-family house,
Yeah.
and we got that, and I thought that gave us the go-ahead. And that's why we went forward with it,
Yeah.
and then when we did the research, there are multiple other sober houses in the neighborhood.
I mean, I
including two on
understand,
the street.
yep, I understand it, and I understand also that you've already been written some tickets.
Yep.
And tomorrow morning, after we deny this, if we don't, then there won't be, but if we deny this, I know what my vote is, that I'm gonna ask Mr. Conlon to start writing you tickets first thing in the morning. Thank you, sir, for your time. Anything else, Council?
No, thank you.
All right. I don't know how you people feel. I think it's not allowed in B. They can go to Residence C, they can go to Business B, Business C, and run their house, but what I got, your time's up.
no, it wasn't me, it's someone else.
Oh, so,
I think a couple of us still
Oh,
want to speak.
one second. So I was trying to stop that, so we don't have to have 200 people say the same stuff over and over, that they don't want it and all that. You got something to add to this? speak.
I live at 45 Green.
Come on up.
I live at.
Name and address for the record.
Yes, Greg Spagnuolo, 45 Green.
Yep.
Street. I live directly across from this
Okay.
house. And we've already had some incidents where, specifically on Halloween, one of their residents came over, knocked on my door,
Yeah.
and told my son-in-law he wanted to stab our Halloween decorations.
Yeah.
It's a big blow up. All the kids love it in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. One night I heard him or somebody yelling at somebody for cooking at 1 a.m. He's got an Audi or something that he blasts up and down the street all the time. It's one of your guys. And a couple other things and I'll be done. But I don't want, I have young granddaughters.
it.
All the stuff he talked about.
I get it, but
Yeah.
they belong in
Yeah.
another residence
Right,
where
but
they can
if,
do that.
my request is
That's all I
don't bend the rules. I've lived there for 30 years. I
Yeah.
pay sky-high taxes.
Yeah.
He's gonna make 13 grand a month if I do the math by what he's saying. It's not for love of addicts, it's for money. That's all I'm saying.
Excuse
Thank
me,
you.
did you file police reports for all these incidents?
Well, no, but he's a witness. He's the one that answered my door. So we just were like, what's going on over there?
Well, maybe that's what you need to.
And he's got a big sign up saying security surveillance, like, it's like, this isn't like the ghetto where people are gonna break into your house.
Says, it says 24 hours.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
Motion pictures. we take.
And, so anyway, for all the things he said, I'm objecting.
Okay, thank you, and I understand most of you is probably here, you didn't hang in here 2.5 hours just to say hi. I know you like us and you wanted to say hi anyway, right? There you go.
We'll be quiet if you vote.
Huh? Hurry up and vote.
Billy, I live in the condo next door.
Yeah.
That house is too close to the condo, I think. Even if you, basically.
I don't know,
Wait a
sir,
minute,
but.
wait.
yeah, yeah.
I want you to keep what you had so that nothing has changed.
I hear you.
That's all I want to say.
And it's in Zone B, so it's gonna stay like that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, I don't know how you guys feel, I'm voting no.
No.
Council, I have a question. Are you aware of BAK Realty versus City of Fitchburg, March of
one?
2025?
Yeah, it's my case.
Okay. I'll be voting no, as supported by that case.
Right, that's when the law changed. So when he actually got the certificate of occupancy, the law allowed him to operate as a single family there without
Agreed.
special
And
permission.
the laws changed, so
The
I'm
laws
not voting
changed.
in
So-
favor.
So yeah, if you look at my papers, it's just like when the zoning changes, it's a pre-existing non-conforming use. So that's one of our arguments. It's a pre-existing non-conforming use because he was operating legally when he started the operation.
Were the
And I
permits
get it,
pulled
I
for the correct bathroom?
He did illegal construction, which he's corrected,
Okay.
or in the process. Did you
What,
correct?
what is the plan for the illegal construction?
So we got a deconstruction permit and we pulled it all up.
As of when?
As of, when we had the meeting, we did it that week, so September, early September.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll still be voting no. Thank you.
Michael,
I'm not in favor.
I know.
have a motion to deny, please.
ZBA 2560, Andrew J. Tyne Esquire, variance and finding, allow operation of a lodging house on the premise numbered 44 Greenleaf Street, Quincy, Mass. I make a motion to deny.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.